Your Denver Broncos' path to the playoffs, path to the division just got way easier. Sean Payton hints at a Broncos trade before the trade deadline, which is about 24 hours away, and Bo Nix is better than Patrick Mahomes. All that and way more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben. Helps me in the algorithm out a ton. If you like the Broncos, would you smash that like and subscribe button? So after the Denver Broncos went in and played the best defense in football, the Broncos playoff odds just surged all the way to 90% chance of making the playoffs. At this point in time, it's not, are the Broncos going to make the playoffs? It's, are we going to have the 1 seed and have a bye week? So as we are building for that, let me know in the comments, who do you want in the first round of the playoffs? Like, who is your ideal matchup for the Broncos to play first round of the playoffs? Because it is absolutely happening. Now, as we look ahead at our schedule and like, what are the hard games remaining? One of the tougher games to me was going into Washington and playing the Commanders, knowing all that had been hyped up with Jaden Daniels. That's the game right after our bye week on a Sunday Night Football. Unfortunately for not only the Commanders fans, but also Broncos fans, that game is probably going to be flexed out of prime time because we hear the news today that Jaden Daniels had a dislocated elbow, and he will definitely be out for that game. So that is a game that you were like, oh, that's a 50-50 game on the road. You're thinking it's going to be easy because it's off of a bye, but Jaden Daniels is a dog. I don't think he's as good as Bo Nix, but he is out for that game. Other game on our schedule is knowing that you have the Packers, who are surging, and a lot of people's Super Bowl favorites coming to town in the month of December, and they just lost their star tight end, who I think is playing. I still think Brock Bowers' ceiling is a little higher than Tucker Kraft, but Kraft is an absolute animal. And as I thought about all the struggles the Broncos have had over these years stopping a tight end, you never want to celebrate when another team has a loss, but this makes that game against the Packers a lot easier when you look at the Packers just losing at home yesterday to the Panthers, knowing that they're coming to altitude and they're going to be doing it without probably their best offensive player in Tucker Kraft. And then knowing the other team that we're fighting for with this division is definitely the Chargers, who barely squeaked one out yesterday against the Tennessee Titans. Broncos get no credit for squeaking one out against the Tennessee Titans, but for some reason the Chargers absolutely did. We know that they have not invested in player health like the Broncos have, and now Joe Alt is looking like he's going to be out at least the next month. He injured that same exact ankle, had another high ankle sprain on the same exact ankle that he did just a few weeks ago, and now he's going to need surgery on that, which means that he's out at least a month. And that is per Adam Schefter. So again, you don't want to do victory laps when another team gets injured, but it's also like short-sighted to not say that this makes the Broncos' path to the playoffs just way, way easier. On top of that, the Kansas City Chiefs, you guys, are absolutely cooked. This thing is done. If you take a look, yes, the Kansas City Chiefs have 5 wins, and they're all excited about that. But if you look at their 5 wins, they have beat very bad teams, and they've beat them very badly because their defense has played well. In Patrick Mahomes' only 5 wins this year, the defense is letting up 9 points per game, which means all he has to do is score 10 points. When the opposing team scores 20 or more on Patrick Mahomes, he is 0-4. And if you take a look at that display that we saw last night, Superman has left the building. Like, I'm not scared of him, and I know they'll clip this up if they come here after their bye week and beat us, but I'm not worried about it. When you invest in aging players, every dynasty comes to an end, and we saw the start of that end last year when Patrick Mahomes was hit 6 times on 4-man pressures. This defensive line that the Broncos have are going to have Patrick Mahomes absolutely seeing ghosts when we see him here in 2 weeks. And you look at his numbers yesterday, it was just, if Bo Nix put up numbers like that, we would never hear the end of it. Like, my phone would break from all the text messages I would be getting from the haters. Patrick Mahomes' yesterday line was abysmal. Patrick Mahomes went 15 of 34 with 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. And this is not against the 85 Bears. This is against a team. I've got a really good friend and neighbor who's a Bills fan who's like, I don't know how we're going to stop them. This is going to be a 60-point game. Patrick Mahomes is going to throw all over us. They are so banged up. They are so injured, and yet he looked incredibly human yesterday. And the facts truly don't lie here that Patrick Mahomes and the run of the Kansas City Chiefs is over. And I know that is like the giant that has been looming in our minds for almost a decade. But at some point, like with Jordan's Bulls, like they just stop being good. And you're still afraid of them because it's like, this is the Bulls of the 90s. But at some point, like, Father Time is undefeated. And when you put all your money in an aging Chris Jones and you have a banged up offensive line and you have all your money going to Travis Kelce and a bunch of old guys, it does catch up with you. And the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty, it is over. And I'm so happy that it is the Broncos' turn to be number one in the AFC West. This was a long time coming, and I'm doing massive, massive victory laps. On top of that, a lot of people are just kind of hating on how Bo Nix played yesterday and saying like he didn't play well. You just got to remember that this is going to be the toughest defense that Bo will face all season long. And you look here when Josh Allen, who a lot of people are saying is going to be the MVP of all of the NFL this year, when he faced this same team last year, he went 9 of 30 for 1 touchdown. So Bo Nix outplayed Josh Allen last year against the same defense, and he outplayed what Patrick Mahomes did yesterday against a way worse defense. Like, if Patrick Mahomes yesterday played the Houston Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs would have scored 0 points. That's just a cold, hard fact. That is absolutely science right there. So I couldn't be more bullish on the Broncos. Bo Nix's numbers yesterday to have 2 touchdowns against a fantastic defense. When you see Patrick Mahomes throw none, you saw last year Josh Allen just throw 1 against them. Let's stop hating on Bo Nix. He is fantastic, and he is the future of this franchise, and we couldn't be more hyped for that. You can finally say that the Denver Broncos have learned to win one-score games. They've learned the art of the fourth quarter comeback, but what does that mean for us as fans? It means we are sweating it out until the very end, and there is a massive difference between sweating and stinking, which is why my go-to solution is definitely Mando. This is absolutely my go-to deodorant. Mando gives me 72 hours of stink-free protection. I've hopped out of the sauna after not putting deodorant on in 24 hours, and I still don't stink. I wake up in the mornings and I still don't stink. And they just have a ton of products. They have a body wash, which I absolutely love. They've got these wipes that I throw in my gym bag if I don't have time to actually shower after a workout. I just wipe down the pits and the feet. And the thing I love about it is this is just deodorant for everyday dudes. This is not for some bottled water drinking guy who wants to look like he's on a cologne bottle. You just want to not stink when you go into a meeting and feel confident in that. Check out the link in this description, scan this QR code on the screen, but check out Mando. We don't need to sweat it because Sean Payton's got it, but if we do sweat it, definitely hit up Mando. I see a bunch of Houston Texans fans on my timeline just saying stuff about how CJ Stroud is way better than Bo Nix, and that's just not a factual statement whatsoever. CJ Stroud has played a lot more games, 14 more games than Bo Nix, but only has 4 more touchdowns than Bo does at this point. Bo has 53 touchdowns, and CJ has 57 in 14 more games. He has way more turnovers and a way higher turnover pace, and the sack number just isn't even in the same conversation there. That Bo Nix has only taken 33 sacks to 107 sacks for CJ Stroud. And while that might mean the Broncos have a better offensive line, we know that Sean Payton has said that the sack stat in the NFL is just as much attributed to the quarterback as it is to the offensive line. And the same offensive line where Russell Wilson almost led the league in sacks that year is the line blocking for Bo Nix as he's hardly getting touched. So I'm wildly, wildly hyped about that. So here we are, first place in the AFC West with our entire future up in front of us with one of our toughest games. They're losing their starting quarterback, another one losing their starting tight end, another one losing their starting offensive lineman. And so the question is, are the Broncos buyers at the trade deadline? And Sean was asked about that on his conference call today. He was super grumpy and salty, which means that the Broncos are going to be keyed in and ready for this week against the Raiders. But he was asked, hey, are you guys going to make a trade at the trade deadline? I heard today the exact question posed to Dan Campbell and to a Minnesota Vikings coach, Kevin O'Connell. Both of them definitively said, no, we're not going to make any trade. We're happy with what we have right now. So I feel like saying we'll see is definitely saying yes. And then there was a follow-up asked by Mike Kliss asked, hey, if you guys do bring in another person, is that telling the locker room that, hey, we're in win now mode? Like, we're ready to win this thing? And he said, hey, we never make trades for that reason. This whole team knows and actually wants to win for each other. And so I feel like both of those answers, when you take them in tandem and you hear how Sean Payton answered those questions, really are leading me to think that you are going to see the Broncos make a move here at the deadline. After watching yesterday's game against the Houston Texans, I would love if the Broncos had another tight end other than Evan Ingram. I still think there is bright things in the future for Evan Ingram, We haven't seen it yet. And so I would love to see Njoku. I would love to see Hawkinson in this mix. I would love to see the Broncos go out and get a playmaking tight end. I think the addition of Marvin Mims coming back from that concussion this week will give the Broncos offense back some life. And so I don't think we need to do what some people are saying, which is go out and get a wide receiver. But let me know in the comments, if the Broncos make a move at the trade deadline, who do you hope that is for? I think it's happening. So we are going to keep an eye on that, and we'll do breaking news if that happens. Looking just some kind of housekeeping on that Houston Texans game yesterday. Our defense, guys, the move, little housekeeping on our game yesterday. The move that George Paton made in this offseason to get two of the 49ers' best defenders, it just cannot be lost on you that last week the San Francisco 49ers lost to this same team that these guys helped propel the Broncos to a victory. And that is just, it's as clear as night and day that the two highest graded defenders from yesterday's game would have won that game for the 49ers last week against the Texans. So to get Talanoa Hufanga a 91 rating, he was all over the place, and what a difference maker, and I'm so happy he's a Bronco. And then Dre Greenlaw, even though he only played in 27 snaps, he was a difference maker. He kept CJ Stroud and that offense out of the end zone 3 times in a row, should have been 4 times in a row, but there was a weird false start penalty there. They are absolute difference makers, and shout out Zach Allen, because I'm sure he is feeling it today. He got hit in the ribs, yet still played through, and our defense is here for the foreseeable future and is going to make Geno Smith's life a nightmare on Thursday night, and in 2 weeks is going to make Patrick Mahomes' night an absolute nightmare. And then shout out Garrett Bowles, because we are seeing that the edge rushing tandem that he just faced in Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, that's the best edge rushing tandem he'll face the rest of the year, other than when he has to play Cooper and Benito in practice. And you are still seeing that up until this point, he's allowed 0 sacks, only 7 pressures, and then he has a 90 pass block grade. So Garrett Bowles, to be a guy who a lot of people wanted to chase out of here to now being like one of the heroes of this team, I love that redemption arc for him, and couldn't happen to a better guy. Now, some people are saying that this game against the Raiders could be a trap game, and hey, don't look past this. I'm not going to look past the Raiders. I think the Broncos are going to win pretty handily, because Sean Payton does not fall for trap games. That in Bo Nix's entire career, with the Bo Nix-Sean Payton tandem there, they have beat all of the teams who are under 500 that they should beat, other than one. So they've only fallen for that trap game one single time. We know this week that the Packers lost to the Panthers. We saw the Lions, who looked like they were out of it, beat the Detroit Lions at home. So we know crazy things happen, but that's not happening this week, because Sean Payton and this Broncos team has their eyes on the prize, which is the AFC West Championship, and it can't come soon enough, because Broncos country, we are back, and we got so much to believe in. Oh, ball don't lie.